It feels really weird to not have my cushions behind me. Also, you can see this bit of my duvet. Get down. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a little bit sick of my background. If you have any ideas for background suggestions, let me know down there. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my top 10 drugstore foundations, an updated version, because I did one of these over a year ago now. Like, I checked back on my channel because people always ask me, Soph, can you do a top 10 foundations video? And I kept replying, oh, I've done one recently, check back on my channel. But then I actually did check back on my own channel and that video was over a year ago. But I thought, you know what, I do actually have quite a few new additions into my top 10 drugstore foundations. With prom season kind of coming up, a lot of you guys have been asking me what are my favourite drugstore foundations. So I thought I'd just do a video on it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. There are so many giveaway entries on my previous video that I can't even find comments that say they're from the notification squad. Okay, instead I'm just gonna like put the winner of the giveaway here from my last video. Thank you guys so much for entering. There were so many comments. So a lot of you like watched till the end. Thank you so much. So yeah, winner of the giveaway will be on here and I will have replied to your comments. So have a check. I did also do like a top 10 concealers video, but that one is more recent and I don't think anything's really changed since that, so I will put that in the cards. Okay, so the number one thing that has changed since my previous video, my favourite foundation of all time is now this one, which you guys will know if you watch my videos. This is the Maybelline... Ew. This is the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour full coverage foundation, and I have the shade 03 True Ivory. In the UK, I think this is $9.99, and I know that in the US the shade names are different, which is really confusing. And also, a lot of Superdrug stores don't stock this shade. They have one which is called Ivory or Light Ivory or something like that, but the shade that I have is True Ivory, but it's really hard to find. I think it says 03. This foundation, if you have oily skin, is incredible. Just in case you guys don't watch my videos and you are new to my channel, thank you for watching, welcome. My skin type is oily and my subscribers are literally gonna kill me for saying this because I say it in every single freaking video, but yeah, just getting that out of the way. This is the most long-lasting foundation I'm pretty sure that I've ever tried. Like, okay, recently I tried on my Cover FX, which is kind of pretty much a dupe of that. Well, this is like a dupe of that one, but it's so long lasting and it's so full coverage. It's just the best foundation ever. I've had my photo taken with this with like a proper like SLR camera with flash, and it doesn't flash back. However, one time when I was wearing this and I took a photo on my phone, it did have flashback, but it didn't with the professional one. So I think maybe it could have just been what I was wearing underneath on my powder or something. I don't think this has flashback, but it's just so good. I've got so many videos on it. As you can see, it's pretty much exactly perfect match for my skin. Another foundation that I absolutely love, which was my favorite in my previous video, I think. This is the Revlon Color Stay foundation for combo to oily skin. I have the shade 150 Buff, and this is so messy, it's actually gross. I'm nearly at the end of this. I've been through so many bottles with this foundation. I love it so much. This is probably one of the best matches for my skin tone. Same with the Maybelline one actually. Both of these match me really, really well because they've got kind of neutral undertones instead of too pink or too yellow. So I love both of these shades. They're really great. And this Revlon one I really, really like. It's not quite as full coverage as this one and it's not quite as long lasting, but it does look a little bit more natural. This one is definitely a lot thicker, but they're both just such good foundations. And again, I think this Revlon one is, I think it might be a bit more expensive. I think it's $10.99 or $11.99. I don't think the Maybelline one has got SPF in it. I could be wrong, but I can't see anywhere that says it has SPF, whereas the Revlon one has got SPF 15. Okay, so Revlon Color Stay in the shade Buff is definitely the most close match to my skin. That is that one there. Next up is another more recent one. This is the EX1 Invisi Wear Liquid Foundation. I think this is also $9.99 and you can buy this from Boots, and I think you can also get it in a couple of other places online. I will link all these foundations below, but I have the shade 1 in this. This is definitely not as like good coverage as those two that I just mentioned. This is more kind of medium coverage, but what I really like about this is as I wear it throughout the day, when it starts to get oily, it doesn't start going really cakey and separated and gross. It just kind of wears nicely. Like, it's not as long lasting as those ones, but it just looks kind of nice when it gets a bit oily, if that makes any sort of sense. It just looks more dewy and radiant instead of like actually oily and separated and patchy, which is why I really like this. I think it's a really good foundation. Although I think this is the kind of EX1 range is based for people that have more kind of like yellowy undertones. I find that the shade 1 is pretty much like my perfect match. So if you are more on the pink side, then maybe this isn't going to work for you. And also I think because it's not as heavy as well, that's why it looks a bit better throughout the day, because it doesn't sink into my smile lines as much, which is a problem that I have with literally every foundation. But because this one is a bit like thinner and not as like cakey, I find that it just looks nice. It's really nice. I like the packaging as well. Some of these might be slightly out of order because I can't remember. I'm filming this clip afterwards, but this is the EX1 foundation in the shade 1. Next up is the LA Girl Pro Matte Foundation. This came out pretty recently. I did again do like a full testing video on this. I'm not sure if you would like this if you have dry skin. I forgot to mention with the other foundations, the Maybelline one is a semi-matte sort of finish. The Revlon one is also, it's a little bit more dewy, and then the EX1 is kind of not matte, but it's not super dewy, but it's definitely more dewy than the Revlon one and the Maybelline one, whereas this one is extremely matte. And the only thing that I'm not too keen about on this is I don't have my exact shade. They have the shade Ivory, which is really, really pale. This is actually too light for me. And then I think the next shade down is either Bisque or Beige, but I decided to keep the shade Beige to kind of mix these two together to get my shade, because this one and also Bisque is too dark. So that is the only thing that sucks, but they do have a pretty good shade range. This technically isn't like drugstore because you can't get it in Superdrug or Boots, but it's drugstore price. It's £10. And I think it's a really good foundation. This is the LA Girl Pro Matte Foundation in the shade Ivory, and then this is the shade Beige. As you can see, there's quite a jump between these two, so that's why I mixed them together. But then if you do have more dry skin and you were looking for a foundation that is also got really good coverage and is around the same sort of price, then the LA Girl Pro Coverage Foundation, this one came first. I don't have my exact shade in this. I have the shade Porcelain, which is really dark for the shade Porcelain. Can you guys see this? But I also have their white mixer, so I kind of mix these two together. And this has got such a nice finish and such nice coverage. It blends so nicely. The only thing is with this one is it definitely is very dewy. So for me, I have to powder it a lot and it doesn't last the longest on me, but I still really like it. And if you have more dry skin, then I would definitely recommend this one. Yeah, just thought I'd throw something in there for you dry skin gals. Just having the white mixer anyway is quite useful for like mixing them with other foundations. So, oh my god, I bet it would be such a nice combo if I mixed this white mixer with the matte one in beige. I'm gonna try that. This is the shade Porcelain. As you can see, that is a lot darker than all of these shades. So yeah, they need to make lighter shades. I didn't bother swatching the white one because it's literally just white. I think I actually have 11 foundations again in this video, which is funny because in my previous foundation video I had 11. But I just want to put them all in. Next up is one which again technically isn't drugstore, and this is going to be annoying because you can't get this one online, but if you do live in the UK, I thought I would chuck this one in here. This is the Primark PS Love My Perfect Colour Longwear Ultimate Matte Foundation. This is its double coverage, matte finish, oil free and SPF 15. This is only £5 and this is in the shade Porcelain. Again, this is a tiny bit too light for me at the moment. I wore this the other day in a video and everyone was like, oh my god, flashback Mary. It wasn't flashback, it was just because the foundation was too light. But this lasts really nicely. It's pretty much an exact dupe for the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. Again, I've got a whole video on this. I think for £5, it's insane. You get 32ml, which is even a bit more than you would normally get with foundations, but it's really nice. It's not like a super matte finish. Again, it's more of like a semi-matte, but it just wears really nicely on oily skin and it's got really good coverage as well. This is the Primark foundation in the shade Porcelain. As you can see, this one is definitely a lot lighter, so if you've got pale skin, this is definitely a good option. Next is an absolute classic. I still love this foundation because it matches me really, really well. This is the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Foundation in the shade 1N. I also really like the Infallible 24-Hour Foundation by L'Oreal, but to be honest, I don't notice too much difference between this foundation and that foundation. I don't really know. They both have really good coverage. I would say it's kind of like a medium to full coverage. And does this one have SPF? I don't think it does. Oh, SPF 17 it says on the back. That's so random. But they have quite a lot of different shades of this for like different undertones and stuff, which is good. So I just have the shade 1N, which is 1 neutral. And this is a pretty much exact match for my skin. I just really like it. It's a classic. It's not the most long lasting in the world of my skin, but I do still wear this a lot, and like I think it's a really good foundation. If you haven't tried it, would recommend it. This one is the L'Oreal True Match in the shade 1N. Next again is something new. This is the Revolution Pro Foundation Drops, and I have the shade F1. I really like these. Out of the foundations that Revolution have recently launched, they launched the Stick Foundation, the Full Coverage Camouflage Foundation, and then they launched this one. This one is definitely my favourite out of those. It kind of reminds me, the way that it wears, it reminds me of the EX1 foundation. When it gets oily, it doesn't get too gross oily. It just kind of makes you look like dewy. It's not the most long lasting, but then like I said, like it wears pretty well. I just really like these. They've got really good coverage. I think it's £5. Is it £5 or £7? And also a really good thing about these is they've got 18 different shades. Which I really like, and I think these will work for dry skin as well, but also I know the foundation stick and the full coverage foundation, they are a lot more like dewy than this one. This one is more kind of like in between dewy and matte. It's not matte, but it's not dewy. It's kind of somewhere in between. This is the Revolution Pro Foundation Drops in the shade F1. I'm gonna have to take off my watch. I'm running out of space. Next, I've got two different foundations from Rimmel. First one is the Rimmel Match Perfection Foundation. I used this recently in a video. This is supposed to have a shade that matches 99% of UK skin tones. I don't know how legit that is, but if you want something that's a bit lighter for the summer, this is definitely a light to medium coverage, I would say, but if you don't want something that's too heavy and you want something that kind of feels like it's, you know, kind of almost moisturizing, but it's not too thick and cakey and not too obvious if, you know, you just want something a bit lighter, then I would definitely recommend this one. To be honest, I don't wear it too much in the winter. I wear this more in the summer because my skin tends to be better in the summer and I don't mind looking a bit more dewy in the summer. And these shades that I have are Light Porcelain and True Ivory. This one is too pink, which is the only thing that I don't like about Rimmel foundations, is all of their lightest shades are very, very pink, but I know that they've actually added like some new shades to this, so I'm gonna like try and get my hands on one of those. This one is the shade True Ivory, which kind of I can just about get away with, so yeah. This has got SPF 20 though, so I feel like it would flash back. This is the Rimmel Match Perfection in Light Porcelain. As you can see, this one is a lot more pink. And then this one is True Ivory, which as you can see is pretty dark as well. And then I've got another one by Rimmel, which I do really like. The only thing is, again, it's just too pink for me. And when I wear it, it's quite obvious that it's too pink, which is such a shame. Maybe they've added more shades of this, I'm not really sure, but this is the Lasting Finish 25-Hour Foundation. Again, this has got SPF 20 and this is the shade Light Porcelain. This one is a lot more full coverage, so if you want something that, you know, maybe you like the Match Perfection foundation but you want something that's more full coverage, then this one is really good, and it definitely lasts a lot longer as well than that one. And these are pretty cheap. I think it's maybe like $7.99, maybe $9.99 max. Then this one is, oh my god, I've got foundation all over my nail. This one is the Rimmel Lasting Finish Foundation, the 25-hour one in Light Porcelain. Again, as you can see, it's pretty damn pink. And then the final foundation, which I just wanted to throw in, again, it's technically not drugstore because it's from Beauty Bay, but this is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. I just thought I'd throw this in for my like very fair skinned girls because this shade in 00A Porcelain, along with the LA Girl lightest foundation, these are two of my lightest foundations in my collection. This one is really, really good coverage as well. It is quite a thick foundation. I don't think if you had dry skin you would like this, but I could be wrong. I know when Emma tried this on, she thought that it was like very thick, so maybe you would want to like mix it with like a drop of something that's more dewy or like some illuminating drops or something, but it does have really good coverage. And I've got the shades 00 Light Natural and 00A Porcelain. This one is lighter. This one kind of works for me when I've got a bit of a tan, but I kind of mix these two together because this one is a bit too light. But yeah, it's a nice foundation. It's really good. And again, I think it's like 10 or 11 pounds. And then finally, this is the Milani Conceal and Perfect in the shade, what shade is this? 00A Porcelain. And then this one is 00, which I think is called Light Natural. Okay, so here is a comparison of them all on my arm. I definitely think the reason why these ones are kind of my top favorites are because they match me a lot better. Okay, so that is it from me. I really hope you guys have found this video helpful. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to do. I would love to know any of your favorite foundations down below. Please let me know, because I love trying new ones, and if there's any that you want me to test, let me know. Most of these I've used in, actually all of these I've used in videos, so if you want to see how they perform, then just type in my name and then type in the foundation. Other than that, don't really have anything else to say. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Oh, my foot. Do you guys like my pajamas?